Welcome back to the Robert Stone Club. While most people were unwrapping presents on Christmas Day, the market gave us something else, something absolutely shocking. We're talking about Beefy Finance, BIFI. Now, the big question on everyone's mind is this. Was this just some random holiday glitch? Or was it a perfectly calculated move by smart money that you and I could have seen coming? We are going to break down the anatomy of this move piece by piece.
Just look at this number, plus 220%. I mean, think about that. In a single day, while the rest of the market, Bitcoin included, was basically asleep, BIFI just shot up from the low hundreds to over $360. This wasn't some gentle climb, all right? This was a vertical, explosive launch. And let me be perfectly clear, moves like this, they don't just happen. They are absolutely engineered.
So this is the real mystery we're diving into today, isn't it? What was this? A simple glitch in the system? Was it a dirty pump and dump designed to fleece retail traders? Or was it something far, far more elegant? A true masterpiece orchestrated by smart money that saw a perfect storm brewing for weeks. I promise you, the answer is going to completely change how you look at these massive volatile moves from now on.
All right, let's just cut to the chase here. Moves like this, they're designed for one purpose, and one purpose only: to separate you, the retail trader, from your money. It's a trap. When you see a chart just go vertical with no warning, what's your gut reaction? It's FOMO, right? Fear of missing out? Or maybe it's panic. Well, those very emotions are the weapons the market uses against you.
And this right here, this quote says it all. Your emotional reaction, that becomes the exit liquidity for the smart money. You become the reason for the next move. See, chasing a pump like this after it's already launched is like jumping into a shark feeding frenzy. It's financial suicide, and panicking is no better. The only way to win this game is not to react to the move, but to understand the mechanics before it ever happens.
So here's the absolute key takeaway. What happened on Christmas was not random. Not at all. It was the result of four, let's call them pillars. Four distinct factors, all lining up at the exact same time. See, smart money doesn't gamble. It doesn't guess. It waits for this perfect confluence. And right now, we're going to break down every single one of these pillars so you can learn to spot the next perfect storm yourself. Okay, pillar number one, the catalyst. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine a restaurant in your town gets a terrible health review, a big C slapped on the door. What happens? Nobody wants to eat there. The business tanks. But then they shut down, clean house, retrain everyone, and they get a brand new inspection, and boom, a shiny A grade in the window. That A is the catalyst. It's that one specific event that totally flips the script, erases all the old fear, and restores confidence.
And this was BIFI's A grade. Back in November, they got caught up in that big balancer exploit. They weren't even at fault, but they were collateral damage, and the price just bled and bled because of all the uncertainty. But then, look at this. December 23rd, just 2 days before the explosion, the team drops this incredibly detailed, super transparent report called Scars of Battle. It basically explained everything. Now, it took the market about 48 hours to really digest it, but once it did, all that fear just evaporated. Confidence came roaring back. And that was the spark that lit the fuse.
All right, now let's talk about pillar number two, because this is where things get really explosive. The supply squeeze. You know what this is like. Imagine it's Super Bowl Sunday. You're right outside the stadium, and there are only a handful of tickets left for sale. The supply is basically zero, but demand is through the roof. What happens to the ticket price? It doesn't just go up a little, it goes vertical. That, my friends, is a classic supply squeeze.
And for BIFI, this is the magic number, 80,000. That's it. That is the absolute maximum number of BIFI tokens that will ever exist. We're talking about an incredibly tiny, fixed supply. This isn't some project that can just fire up the printers and create more tokens when they feel like it. No, this absolute scarcity is a fundamental piece of this entire puzzle.
Okay, so now let's put the two pieces together. You've got that tiny scarce supply we just talked about, and then you add this. Look at the volume. It exploded by more than 1,700%. One day it's at 2.7 million, the next it's almost $47 million. So you have a tidal wave of nearly $50 million in new demand crashing into this tiny little island of only 80,000 tokens, on a holiday no less when liquidity is already razor thin. This is a textbook supply shock. The price had literally no choice but to go vertical.
But a big move needs fuel to keep going, right? That brings us to pillar 3, the fundamental driver. Look, a catalyst and a supply squeeze can create a violent short-term pop, But for that move to have any real legs, there has to be a legitimate reason for money to stick around. Smart money isn't just chasing a green candle, it's strategically moving capital into quality assets that actually generate real revenue.
And here's exactly what that fundamental driver was for BIFI. They had just rolled out a new integration with Stake DAO, offering these auto-compounding vaults with a crazy good yield, around 27% APY. Now, think about the timing. This is happening when the market is getting tired of meme coins and is actively looking for protocols with real yield. This news was a massive stamp of approval. It proved that BIFI wasn't just some project that survived a hack, it was a healthy, profitable business. And that's what attracts the serious money.
And now for the final piece, the fourth pillar. This is the jet fuel, the short squeeze. Imagine you bet your friend $1,000 that his boat is going to sink. But instead of sinking, a monster wave comes along and lifts his boat up on a cliff. Now, you don't just lose the bet. You have to somehow get that boat down for him, which costs way more. You're trapped. You are forced to become a buyer, adding fuel to the fire you bet against. And this is precisely how the trap was sprung on Beefy shorts. See, way back in June, Binance slapped a monitoring tag on the project. A lot of traders saw that and thought, aha, this thing is dead. It's going to get delisted. So they piled in, shorting it and betting it would go to zero. But here's the thing. They made the wrong bet. The project didn't die. It kept building. It kept shipping new features. The delisting never came. So when that catalyst hit and the price started to move up, all those traders who bet against it were suddenly trapped. They had to buy back their shorts to cut their losses, and that forced buying created an avalanche of upward pressure.
Okay, so we've taken apart the engine. We understand exactly why this happened. Now for the most important part, the how. How can you take this knowledge and use it to spot the next perfect storm before it makes headlines? We can boil these 4 pillars down into a simple, powerful playbook you can use starting today.
Here it is, your personal confluence checklist. Now remember, you are not looking for just one of these things. The magic happens when you find all 4 lining up. Step 1. Hunt for the catalyst. Find that piece of news that completely shatters an old negative story. Step 2. Check the supply. Is the asset incredibly scarce? Is it hard to buy? Step 3. Verify the fundamentals. Is there a real, solid reason for new money to flow in? And finally, step 4. Identify the trapped players. Is there a big group of people, like short sellers, who are on the wrong side of the trade and can be squeezed?
All right, for all of you watching BIFI right now, let's get practical. Here are the levels you need to have on your chart. That $250 zone, that's your new critical support. If it holds that level, it's a very strong sign this is a real trend reversal, not just a fluke. Now, your resistance is obviously the highs from the holiday, anywhere from about 360 up to 489. Be ready for some wild swings here because as the big players come back from vacation, liquidity is going to change things.
So, let's bring it all home. Let's close that loop we opened at the beginning. The BIFI Christmas miracle? It wasn't a miracle at all. It wasn't a glitch. It wasn't some random pump. It was a perfectly predictable outcome. It was the calculated convergence of confidence, scarcity, fundamentals, and market structure. Plain and simple, it was a smart money masterpiece.
Stay disciplined and join our Telegram for real-time signals. Let's make moves.